There's this line in the song, I'm holding on, why is everything so heavy? And if you've ever felt like that, like really, really felt it, the way your bones ache with it, the way it sits in your chest like a rock, weighing so much, then you know. You know how hard it is to explain, just to say out loud, just to admit that sometimes just existing takes absolutely everything you've got.
So that's why we're here. Mind Matters is a podcast from the people who brought you Who Cares, and it's not just another podcast about mental health. It's a space where we drop the act, there's no sugarcoating, no just think positive, just real talk. About the days when the weight wins and about the fight that nobody sees. About what it actually takes to keep going when everything in you wants to let go.
We've been the people who couldn't get out of bed. We've been the ones that smile whilst we're falling apart. And we've learned this. The moments that we drag the stuff into the light, that's when the power loses. That's when we realise we're not broken, we're just human.
So, whether you're here because you're struggling or because you love someone who is, welcome. You're safe here and you're not alone.
So today we're going to talk about imposter syndrome, otherwise known as the fraud alert, or when your brain gaslights you daily. You know the moment when you get praise and your stomach just drops to the floor, that fear that this is the moment that they'll realise they've just been winging it the whole time. When you've sat in boardrooms clutching a coffee like it's a lifeline, convinced the fraud was written all across your forehead. Here's what they don't tell you. That feeling never really goes away. You just learn to stop letting it steer the car. Today we're unpacking why our brains do this, how to spot it when it's lying to us, and why most competent people often feel like the biggest fakes. Really important subject, really subject close to my heart. I am chronic for imposter syndrome, probably because when I left school I couldn't read or write properly, so I've always kind of like dragged myself up by the bootstraps, and that kind of like working class background. Imposter syndrome is very prevalent for people from working class backgrounds who progress beyond their station. I don't know, anyone like Beatles? Anyone like John Lennon?
Yeah, I like Beatles.
It's like, had the working class hero. It's like, yeah, just sums imposter syndrome up, and it is. I mean, and what you've got with imposter syndrome is when you're stepping out of your comfort zone, that's when it comes in. And it can be a killer, so...
I think it can be overwhelming, can't it? I think we've probably all been there. Those of us who have, like you said, we've dragged ourselves up from wherever we started. It doesn't matter if we've started on a council estate or actually you've gone to Eton or something. If you feel out of your comfort zone, you're out of your comfort zone. It's as simple as that, isn't it? Sometimes we get overwhelmed by our peers, and we put our peers on pedestals sometimes, don't we? Somebody might walk in a really powerful suit and they might control the room, but we don't know inside they might just be just as nervous as you. Because quite often we're there because people want to listen to you, but inside you're going, oh my God. And I think it can be completely crippling, can't it? You know, I've had moments where I've been stood on stage and I've lost one thinking completely. Just for a second I've gone, that's because you shouldn't be here, John. Well, it should be because you're doing what you're doing. Anyway, I resign. but that's the thing, isn't it? In your head, that's what you're saying. Your brain's going, you don't know enough about this subject, but actually you really know more than what you think sometimes. And I think it is really quite damaging. And it's the pre-anxiety sometimes, isn't it? It's not actually when you're there doing it, it's the moments leading up to it.
Yeah, so imposter syndrome is almost like a precursor to anxiety. It's almost like a gateway drug. It's the thing that kicks off anxiety in a lot of occasions. And I think when we hear the phrase imposter syndrome, we think boardrooms, we think business meetings, but you could be a parent and someone comes up to you in a play area and says, you're an amazing parent.
Yeah,
Again,
definitely.
you then feel fake. You're like, no, I'm not. So it's not always about business. It's not always about accomplishments. Sometimes it's just someone giving you a compliment. and you not being able to accept that.
And that's actually, I get told all the time, you're a really good mum, you're a really good mum, but I know I could do better. So you always have that feeling, I know I could do better, and there's things, and to you it's like, no, I'm not a good mum. But I tried to be, obviously, and I want to be, and it's lovely that people say that.
But you put yourself under that pressure that you to be better,
Yeah,
but then you can beat
things
yourself up better.
Yeah.
So if you have moments where, you're having a bad day, and you just think, you know what, child, I just want to sit on the sofa, play your toys. And it's not because you don't love them, it's just because you're done.
Yeah.
And then later you reflect and think, oh, shit, I should have done something about that, really.
Yeah.
Well, the reality is nobody puts 100% in all the time into anything they do. There's always, we all have off days with absolutely everything.
We're human, aren't we?
Yeah, we're human. So I think there's a difference between all of us have off days and actually we're entitled to off days, whether that be kind of parenting, friendship, work, whatever that is. But then if you can't just accept the fact, Jen, that if someone comes up to you and says you're a good mum and you feel like immediately like you feel a bit awkward about it, that's where that kind of imposter syndrome is sneaking in.
And I didn't think about that until you just brought that up, and it is true. There is lots of things I think I could do and could do better. So yeah, you do have that moment where you should actually just say thank you very much. It's really nice, But instead, it's a constant.
But I think that's where we reflect on the other episodes. It's just about being kind to yourself. In that moment, when you have that hit of conscious, you just have to remember that you're doing the best you can.
But it can be crippling sometimes, though.
It can be overwhelming.
Being kind to yourself, it can absolutely take over your whole body, and you can feel yourself kind of shutting down, and you find yourself in some situations where I do. Particularly, kind of again going back to work, but in that kind of professional capacity, I think, what the bloody hell am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what actually am I doing? I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm completely winging it. Life, eyeliner, motherhood, everything. I've got no idea what's going on. I was the naughtiest kid ever at school, failed college, got a job in a care home. Fast forward however many years, and I'm like, I don't understand what I'm doing.
But the thing is, she doesn't. She's completely winging it.
She has got a very good job. Very important.
Oh yeah, well, don't tell her she's important.
I am very important.
She's not important. Her job.
Thanks for clearing that up, Jen. Appreciate it.
It is worrying, isn't it, when we actually say to each other all the
Well,
time.
my job's worrying.
Do you find though that you can sit in a meeting with people that you really think are important? You feel that they're important, but actually, I bet all of those are sat there
Just
going,
normal.
They're normal, and probably over half of them are thinking, "What am I doing here?" I don't. How many meetings do we sit in this sort of world that we work in, and it's probably only us that's talking. Everyone else just sat there really quiet because they're out of their depth. They don't really understand, but yet we're the ones that feel like that.
Yeah,
sometimes.
but that's just the ADHD extrovert. They go blah blah blah.
They're just like, we just shut up because we can't get a word in anyway.
Isn't it crazy how we always say to each other, how did we even get here? How have we got through? Like, how have we even kept our child alive? But then you've got this job and you're like, well, how am I doing this? What am I doing? Yeah. So it's crazy.
But for you, Lee, I mean, I always get surprised by you because we...
Where is this going?
Fuck, someone take me home today. This is a bit much, isn't it? Honestly. What am I doing here?
I don't know, John.
I've lost my train of thought now, mate. What was I talking about?
Always surprised.
I was surprised.
That's what I
Yeah. Well, that wasn't surprised. I was scared, mate. My heart ticker's going. I'm going to have some cardiac arrest. Fuck me.
Jesus, it's so dramatic in this
It's so dramatic. I mean,
It's so bloody hot again.
I think I've gone wrong. I know where I was going with that. I'm always worried because you and I have worked in professional capacities several times, and you just would not know that you feel like that. So when you said to me the other day, actually, John, sometimes even on the stage with you guys coming on, I feel like that coming onto it. It always surprises me because you hide it so well. So you have some coping mechanisms, and that's really important to understand it, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think, and if you look at most of the best athletes, the best celebrities, there's a kind of laundry list of people with anxiety, imposter syndrome. I forgot what it was there for a second.
Careful. Different, similar.
Different, similar, yeah. So Andy Murray, there's massive imposter syndrome. And I think it makes me work harder because I've got this tennis player. I've got this constant fear that I'm going to get caught out, I'm going to get exposed, so it makes me work 10 times as hard. It also leads to other stuff that will
But do you think that is, though? Because like yourself and myself, school was really difficult for us. We didn't really do very well in those places. definitely I was told you ain't going to do anything with your life.
Oh yeah, massively told.
You're just going to be a moron all your
Teacher
life.
time.
Which they were kind of right about.
I just said.
There's a lot to be said for that though, because some teachers were horrible. I remember like one teacher in particular, like looking at me in the face, and he's like, "You are going to get nowhere in life. When you go out into the real world, you're going to get slapped around the face, and you're absolutely going to fail
Your
at
teacher
everything."
said you're going to get a slap round the face.
A metaphorical slap around the face, and you're.
She does get some.
I do that constantly, and you're just going to fail. And like in that kind of stuff, and I think people in that kind of capacity, they need to be really careful about what they're saying to kids, because that is the kind of stuff that
It is damaging, very damaging, and it will stick in your head.
Where I was going with that really though, was also we know people that have been to university and they do nothing with their life, they turn into bums. So I'm just wondering, do you think there's something around? Because what we see quite often is people who struggle at school, like myself. You know, I've got dyslexia, I struggle with other things, probably I don't really know, I don't really test, I don't really care. But it turns you into some sort of entrepreneur, and it makes you stand out because you have to find your way in life. You have to find a different way to work it, because you can't just go in and traditionally work it. Even like reading this a minute ago, I completely failed. You know,
I still haven't read it. I didn't read it last time.
It doesn't
either.
matter, does it? But I think ultimately you do find different ways. So, do you think that's really helped you? So, although you said you didn't do very well at school, having that slightly different mindset, do you think that's helps you on these sort of things?
Yeah, I think my differences have always been a bit of a strength, and I hate to be cliche with the whole it's my superpower, but I definitely think, because I'm just super anyway, but I think it is kind of like separated me from a lot of people and allowed me to kind of progress in a way that wouldn't. Every time I go give a speech or a talk, I kind of have a little bit of a panic attack. I mean, you know how many times I have to kind of get up at car shows and stuff like that.
But you're in your own worst enemy though, because you just like,
but that's
yeah,
what
let's go and do it. Let's go and do it.
Because I conflict in that way. So my core value is to always grow, always progress. If I bumped into the person I was when I was like 19, 20, and who was still of that mindset, to be disappointed. So I always want to push myself out. I always want to work 10 times as hard to progress. But then the only way to do that is to put yourself in the spotlight outside of your comfort zone. Growth, change doesn't happen in your comfort zone. If you stay in your comfort zone all the time.
It's taking those risks.
Yeah. But I think that's why people like us do that. They don't we push ourselves. I remember the first time so Bridget, my business partner, the radio phone said, "John, will you go on the radio?" I was like, no. Never since then, you can't shut me up. So I mean, you just have to push yourself past that, don't you?
I think people see that, and I think kind of we'd also naturally, if you've got that kind of a bit of an extrovert, show-off personality, people automatically think, "Yes, John, you're a show-off." People automatically think you're going to be
sorry.
No, never. You're going to be like comfortable and confident. I think people see that with me as well, and I found myself in situations like stood up in Anfield Stadium doing a speech in front of Princess Anne, talking about personalised technology and the way it can support people with learning disabilities to increase their independence. Really cool. And it was massive, but I'm such a procrastinator, and I think it's part of like an ADHD trip. I literally did everything to the last minute, and I swear to God, I had not even started thinking about what I was going to say or writing anything down to the hour I was sat at Anfield Stadium writing notes down and practising to myself over and over and over again. And that's where this massive imposter syndrome seeped in. Like,
can't do it!
What are you doing? You're a Princess Anne, wait. And you're here and you're scribbling notes down. And it was just ridiculous. Like,
did you drop into like unbelievable words?
And over and over. No. And I did it, and it was fine. And then someone came up to me afterwards, and they were like, "Oh, you did really, really well." My defensive went shot up and went, "What, you think I wouldn't?" But that came from a place of I was sat there an hour before, like scribbling notes down. And I was like, I'm literally, and that's where that I'm going to get found out moment came in. I'm going to get found out. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not even prepared anything. People are going to realise that I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
But you were asked to do that because people see that you do know.
Yeah, you're capable, yeah.
But yeah, in that
you
moment,
are a moron. You are capable.
Yes, I am a moron. But yeah, that hour before I was like, I'm getting busted.
You always come across like you're just so calm and collected, and you take everything. I can't ever imagine you getting panicky.
That's what I mean, and I've worked with him loads of times.
And I've watched quite a few videos and stuff, and the links you sent, and you just seem so like it's just a walk in the park to you. Also, so on the inside, you're like literally like dying.
Yeah, you wouldn't have believed that he was so. The other week when you were saying about how you felt so distressed on holiday, you would not think that from somebody who's so calm and collected. And that's the scary thing about all this, isn't it?
And that's it. Yeah, you just don't know what's going on inside someone's body and head, do you? Physically and mentally.
Yeah, I mean, and it kind of segues that one into probably the first question, which is, what's your most ridiculous I'm about to be exposed moment? Now, I have one, so I was working for a startup at the time, and I bumped into a connection I had at a car show, and then I was getting back, and it was a big deal, and it was an influential company, and everyone was saying how well it done, it was amazing, and I just got so into my own head, so into that imposter syndrome there, I actually broke down crying, and it just, there was no
Just
negative there. There was
just overwhelming for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like, everyone was like, oh, that's amazing, and I just couldn't process it. Your mind couldn't process it, and that's the strange thing about us humans, isn't it? That we're all like, just the brain just is still a mystery in so many levels. Yeah. So what would you be your most ridiculous?
I don't know. As typical me, I haven't looked at the questions, so I haven't really thought about it. So I think probably
taking it seriously then, John.
I am taking it seriously. I think probably when I left school, I had nothing. I didn't have any GCSEs, so I had to lie on my CV to get a job as an estate agent. I completely fabricated, completely lied, and I winged it. And after a couple of years, I got this job as a valuation manager for 3 branches around Andover and Basingstoke and places. And I just started there, and when you're an estate agent, you have to do like a test around housing and understanding buildings. And basically, I fabricated the test completely and just bullshit it, and somehow passed it. And one of my first valuations I went out to was this great big farmhouse, and me and my colleague went out. He went out to look around the garden. I'm looking out the window, and I realised that the person's house it was the director of the company across the road. And I'm just like going, I've winged the test. I don't know what I'm talking about. If you ask me about end gables, I don't know what that's going to be. And as I looked out the window, Craig was weeing up against his shed. And I'm sort of going, we're just going to get found out. We're just going to get found out. And the guy from the estate agents, he didn't click. We just winged it completely and got away with it. But inside, I was dying, mate. I was dying. And yeah. So that's for me the worst time. And I think the trouble is, it then made me, it wasn't just about that time though, it was then I felt almost awkward around him for several weeks. Does that make sense? Where, you know, I felt so like I was going to quit out. I was just, fuck's sake, guys. I was literally, when I saw him, I thought, oh, do you know what, you've really lied to him. And yeah, I hadn't. I got a good job. And throw me some wigs, will you?
We felt left out.
Good, yeah. It's seen no evil, hear no evil, and Emma.
Sexy and you know it.
So yeah, so that was my one really. But I'll never forget looking out the window and seeing my colleague literally just weeing up his shed in the garden. I was like, oh,
would you say he's taking a piss?
I would say he was taking a piss, yeah. Royally.
Well,
awesome. So
John's favourite button.
I love that button.
John's favourite button.
So Emma, what would you say your most ridiculous I'm going to get found
I think it's
is?
today, mate.
I think today, yeah. Like what? People think I know what I'm talking about. I have no clue. I mean, there's so many. There's kind of sending emails out to the wrong people and trying to withdraw the email and saying the wrong things in meetings, and you know, people saying things and do you know about this subject, and me going, yeah, I know about it, and they start talking about it, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, it's going off my head.
Google.
Going, yeah, no, definitely massively. Googling words to find out later. I mean, I think that the one that sticks out most in my mind is the one I was referring to earlier when I was literally like an hour before. I was like, I've got to go up. And she's from the royal family. Emma, why haven't you taken it seriously?
I can't. That's a great picture of you though with her.
Yeah, I've met her a few times now, me and my mate Annie.
I can't believe you wrote it.
I mean, my mate Annie.
I remember her saying to me once, you would never get a bunch of roses like this in your garden, because someone we support had given her a bunch of flowers and they were tie-dyed, and I was like, I can't even grow a weed, Anne. But kind of several moments, probably not one that I can like massively pick out, but yeah, literally writing that speech an hour before I went on, like, whatever, what are you doing, be like, and I promised myself there and then I was going to get more organised.
You haven't?
Absolutely not.
No.
But that's
Absolutely
the
not.
typical ADHD time blindness. So
Yeah.
for us ADHD people, we have 2 time scales. We have now,
Yeah.
and we have not now.
Yeah.
Mm.
And we also have, I'm really, really busy. Ooh. What's that?
It's a candy.
And then later on you go, what's it doing?
The song pops into your head, or see a bit of tinsel or something. I'll just take this off. I don't know how you guys cope being bold, it's too hot.
We don't have much stuff on. Jen, what would you say your...
Oh, every day. Honestly, I don't even really know what to say to that. I've never really had to stand up and do speeches or anything like that, and I try and avoid any situation.
That's a better look.
It does actually look, I don't know. But yeah, I try and avoid those situations because although I come across really confident, my friends are like, oh, I can't shut her up. But I am not confident at all. So I just would never put myself in a scenario.
And how are you feeling right now? Because this is a scenario like you're
I'm a
describing.
bit warm, yeah. A bit warm.
Slightly flushed. Trying to keep my baps in order.
They're strapped down twice today. It's like...
Again,
Oh dear. Anyway, sure. But yeah, no, I am a monkey for completely avoiding things like that, anything like that. So yeah.
You just don't put yourself up in that situation, do you? But
No,
you've done this though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've been great doing this.
I've really enjoyed it actually. I am very good at talking. That's one thing I can confidently say.
Oh, shit,
I said that last time. Yeah, good at talking,
The
good at
Ugh
parking,
comes out.
but
I'm reversing.
So,
really good at reversing. Really good.
so
What are we talking about?
I've no idea.
I will move it on to...
Please come on
I can't
then.
take myself
So-
seriously.
Self-doubt in some cases can be healthy.
Of course it can be. You can't just do a
So-
massive show up all the time, John.
Yeah.
Poor old
How do
John.
we figure out the difference between healthy self-doubt and imposter syndrome's lies and imposter syndrome gaslighting us?
It's that bit, the panic. Like self-doubt is fine. A bit of nerves, a bit of adrenaline, a bit of anxiety. It shows you're taking something seriously. It shows you want to take a good, like you want to make a good job of it, and you're not over cocky because all jokes aside, that in itself can be a threat anyway, can't it? Being kind of over cocky and overconfident. But like imposter syndrome, like that feeling where literally, like I said earlier, it's a physical feeling sometimes as well, and it's like the panic, like shit, like genuinely.
This is on me.
I've got no idea what I'm doing. All these people are looking at me for advice, guidance, looking like when you're a leader as well, people expect you to know what you're doing and what you're saying.
Oh, it
And
is
you
like
can
that,
feel
isn't it?
yourself just like massively, and it's that that kind of like anxiety feeling in the pit of your stomach where you feel sick, like it's horrible, and it's kind of much more damaging to your mental health, I think, on a kind of day-to-day basis than at the healthy dose of self-doubt that we all get.
But I think, like you say, self-doubt, though, does keep you on point, doesn't it? Because if you've got a little bit of self-doubt, you will make sure, if you're going into a situation where people will be wanting you to be on point, you make sure you know what you're going to say. But it's just, for me, it's not even about knowing what to say, because I always find words because I don't shut up. But it's more about the sideboards, and someone throws something in and you're not quite sure what they might say, and you're going, even though you probably know the answer, oh God, especially if you look out into the crowd and you know there's going to be an awkward character there, you know there's someone that's going to go, well, what about this? Some awkwardness, oh God. And, I hate conflict. So if you get into that situation, it's even worse, isn't it? Because then you feel the anxiety building before the conflict starts.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's enough of me.
So,
Cheers, John.
Thanks. Come back. Anyway, moving on.
I'm glad you're here, John.
I'm not quite sure what that was all about. I feel like... Anyway, moving on.
yeah, it moved on. Just a bit of a segue. So there's 5 different types of imposter syndrome. So
I didn't know that.
number 1 is the perfectionist. So this is the type of person who sets excessively high goals, focuses on your flaws, feels like a failure when able to meet these really high goals. The second type is the superhuman. So this type of person believes they can handle everything perfectly all the time, push themselves to extreme. They're never satisfied when they achieve a goal. They try to assume as many roles as possible and shine in each of them. There's the expert, so this is the type of person who feels like they're not an expert in the field, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. The natural genius. This type believes they should be able to do everything effortlessly and quickly. And the soloist is this type of person, they're the only person who can do this, so they believe that they have to do everything on their own. I don't know anyone else, but I really identify with the superhuman type. I want to think that I can do everything perfectly, always push myself to extremes, which explains my history of burnout. Do you identify with any of those? Any of those?
I kind of feel like
I don't remember any of them.
No, I don't.
they weren't listening,
Looking for the
mate.
notes.
They're not even the notes.
I think for me,
I'm in panic mode.
So Imposter Syndrome.
Don't answer the question. Stop asking me questions.
I think
It's going really well tonight, isn't it?
I think to be honest, mate, I kind of feel that I'm probably bits of all of those on different days.
Right.
I think I have moments where I feel like I can do everything and I'm the only one that can do it. I also think sometimes, it's probably a bit of all of those, to be fair. And I think that's sometimes just as worse, isn't it? Because you can just as worst. Just as worse.
Just as bad, John.
Just as bad. Thanks. Cheers. I think, for me, a bit of all of them. And I do try and take on too much. So you always never want to let people down either. So you go, do you know what? I know I can probably do that. But then what happens with me, quite often I have 3 or 4 projects coming on. The sun will come out and I lose plot and they're all just sat there and then I feel under extreme pressure to get more
You
done.
get in your camper van and disappear for a few hours, I think.
And then I go and sit up for moors on my camper van, get my screens out, put my generator on and have a cup of coffee and fall asleep, and then nothing gets done at all. Thanks for coming, cheers. But I think, I don't think I could identify with any one of those. My pronouns are fucking all of them.
Right. Awesome.
Thanks for coming, cheers.
So
I'm just in that sort of mood tonight.
Johnny's grumpy today.
This isn't grumpy, is it? So I've had a hard week. And I feel a little bit...
why have you had a hard week?
Well, because I knew you guys were coming. No, I don't.
So the rest of the week seems rubbish in comparison.
Yeah, well,
to
that's
what's coming.
right.
You need a little beer, don't you? You need a little beer or something.
Yeah. No, that's why I haven't really had a hard week at all. So I'll tell you what I have had. And it's this little sidetrack. So somebody I love dearly phoned me in the middle of the night last night. I didn't answer the phone. There's a number I didn't know. And then this morning they phoned at 6 o'clock. And they had been stuck in Exeter. Ended up going to see what they thought was a friend for a smoke. Ends up doing some ketamine. Ends up in a real mess. And basically ended up stranded. It was an awful situation. And I'm just sort of going... How do we get around that sort of? I know it's off par, but that's why I'm a little bit feisty today. But I just don't really know where to go with these things, because you can only say so much to somebody, and they have to take the journey themselves. And it doesn't matter if it's imposter syndrome and dealing with that, or if it's dealing with mental health, or it's dealing with addiction, or bloody mindsets that you can't just mature. And it's tricky, isn't it? Anyway,
It's going to be playing on your mind.
So it's been playing on my mind. But I'm not grumpy.
You're grumpy.
I'm not grumpy. Anyway.
But, like you say, you can only give someone the information. What's the old saying? You can lead a horse to water, you can't make the son of a bitch drink.
I think so. I think the trouble is, sometimes with people, like we said the other week, you go in circles. There's so many times you can revisit this mindset before you can go, do you know what, I've told you a million times. Until you break and hit rock bottom, what do you want to do about it?
Yeah.
Anyway, what's the next question?
Why does success often make things like imposter syndrome worse instead of better?
I think you put yourself under so much pressure because you've gone up through the scales, haven't you? You've got so many people that work with you, but under a different sort of level. So like you, how many staff do you have or colleagues that are below your pay grade?
Yeah. No.
3? 4?
No. At the moment, I'm directly line managing 18 people.
And how many people below that?
I think we've got 369 support workers.
Right, so that's a heavy thing on your shoulders, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not an important job, is it? So, but that's a hell of a lot of responsibility, and that's where this imposter syndrome
sits. And it's
sits,
I don't understand, and I'm all these people are kind of like I'm responsible for people's lives, And I think actually,
Shit.
should I be doing it? But it's a massive. It does kick off.
Well,
imposter
you
syndrome
should do it.
massively.
I mean, you're incredible at your job. I
Thank
hate
you.
saying that to you because
Thank you.
it gives you a big head, but I think you are. But I think that's where it comes from, isn't it? That responsibility where you've got. It's not just the people that are looking after. Each one of those people has to get a wage. Each one of those people have families, and it all has to be held together by little old M.
And I look back at my life and some of the questionable life decisions that I've made.
Questionable?
Which is
No, let's leave that
That's what we're covered in the
I'm
extras.
not going to go into them. But no, I look back and I think, and I have sometimes I haven't taken real responsibility of myself.
like last night or the night before. Jaegers.
The last time was the night before was Jaeger. No, but and I think. But you obviously I go to work and it's different. It's a different head and it's a different mindset.
Yeah, you are very.
We have different masks, don't we? And we're very good and we become very adept at kind of switching them over. But then I think sometimes that's where imposter syndrome can sneak in because you think, well, actually, who am I? Because if I'm this to those people and I'm that to those people and I'm that to my daughter and I'm that to my family and I'm that to my friends and I'm that in the workplace, like which one of those is actually me? And I think that contributes to the imposter syndrome that I feel so strongly sometimes.
Do you ever find sometimes, and Leah's question to you as well, I mean, and it's just because it's a professional nature, I sometimes can't help but let my personality sneak through in a professional environment and you go, God, why have I done that?
Yeah.
You drop a clanger, it's like someone's dropped the mic and the whole room goes quiet, you go,
Yeah, stop.
John, stop. You go, I can't stop. And anyway!
But that's part of how I think success happens. If you are naturally kind of gifted at building relationships with people and building a rapport with people and using humour, then and you can kind of get people, half of kind of success is relationships. And I think that's sometimes where we're in danger of like maybe being a bit inappropriate sometimes because that kind of, we get a bit overexcited and we get carried away and then something slips out and you think, oh no. Like,
when you sat in the room.
Don't say, oh no.
She puts her posh voice. Oh no. Matron. You knob jockey.
But you have to be successful. You have to have some of your personality.
Yes,
in there.
of course.
Obviously,
of course, you can't just be drywall, can you? It's
Some people really are though, aren't they? You sit in a meeting and they do not let their guard down at all and you think, fuck, you must have no sex life.
What?
why is that the one you want
Thing to say.
You definitely go home alone, mate. I mean,
they're probably really good. They've got a whole different side to them.
maybe that's what it is.
I like Mr. Grey. Could be a bit.
Maybe that's what it is.
Where are we going?
Ryan!
We got After Dark. After Dark.
This is after. This is your release after 10 o'clock.
Yes, this.
Oh dear.
He's lost his train of thought now. Look.
I've lost everything, to be honest.
Yeah, it's all here. It's all here. I think, like you say, success makes it worse because the accolades and applaudits and the nice things that get thrown at you are all, they keep getting up here, and you feel like you're down here. So when you first take the first few steps onto the corporate ladder or whatever it is that you're doing, then the imposter syndrome will be quite little because you're doing things like you're in a meeting. But then as you go up to kind of like director or if you line manage a lot of people, then the things that people are saying to you is the price is a lot higher. And so your brain's like automatically just massively pushing
But it's
back.
not just the praise though, it's the criticism. And when things do go wrong and you're kind of held kind of responsible for things, and if you know you've made a mistake and you know you've slipped up and you know that actually that potentially had an impact on one of your team members, one of your support colleagues or whoever that is, and then that's where the self-doubt then creeps in because you think actually I've screwed up here, and we can take a moment to reflect and kind of recognise what's happened and use it as an opportunity for learning. But those kind of things, if you care deeply and you're an empath, those are the kind of things that stick in your head. And you think actually I've impacted on that person, I've made a mistake, that's then impacted on them. And then when you do something right or people are praising you, if you've still got that kind of stuff fresh in your head, then you're kind of having that balance.
I think the trouble is though, in a role like yours specifically, you can have 3 or 4 things that happen at the same time. Because there's so many people who can mess up on your behalf.
Yes.
And you've had nothing to do with it. You've put the training in place, you've made sure due diligence is there.
Yeah.
They have then made a decision, made an error, human error, that impacts your day. On this side, you've got an award coming. This side, you've got safeguarding. And you're going, where am I sitting here?
Yeah, and that happens. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and that's really difficult.
I don't
to
want
manage.
the job.
I do.
Oh, my job. We've got the similar
anyone's
jobs.
job.
It's a nightmare. But I think one of the things, though, I think in life, we set our friends up and ourselves up to fail, don't we? Especially when you start going to...
You might set your friends up to fail. I don't.
If it's you. I think when we go up in scale, you get a carer come in. They've never done... We're talking care because we do care. That's all we know. So if a carer comes in and they've never done care before, we train them. We put them through induction. We do all the training in the world. They go to a senior, we train them. They go to a junior manager, we train them. Then suddenly you get to a regional manager or director, no one gives you any training. It's up to you to go and wing it. So you said, do you know what, you've been an amazing deputy manager, come be a registered manager.
Yeah, see you later, mate.
Okay, you send your MVQ5,
Yeah.
brilliant. That doesn't make you a manager. You know a little bit about stuff, but you don't know how to manage people. And if you become a director, your whole life changes because this is a different role. But no one trains you to be a director. So you're just sat there going, I need to make 3 or 4 good decisions today. Someone's going to come to me with loads of problems because they can't manage it. You've got to go, I just think you should do this. And you just or you quickly
Where's
go,
my hat?
what do I do if we're in this? And you've got to do
ChatGPT.
yeah. So I think you should do this. Yeah, definitely that. But I think, and that's the problem, and that's what happens in life. We have these massive expectations put on us, and you've been raised up through a thing, but you haven't had the training to get you there. So you almost feel not quite good enough.
I mean, it's because we've all got our own insecurities and doubts and everything anyway, haven't we? So
Well, you need them.
yeah.
I'm just joking.
Get them from you. So we've got, because we're human, we're not
Yeah.
robots, we're human, and you can become successful in a certain area of your life, and that doesn't even have to be work related. It can be anything. Like we're focusing kind of a lot on working.
It could even be being down to being a parent.
Yeah, we're in danger of missing kind of all of the
And
other
I think
areas
that's- I
where
think that's a really
self-imposter
good point,
things
isn't it?
sneaks in. But we've all got our own concerns about ourselves, our own kind of self-doubt. So whatever area we can become successful in, we're kind of battling that internal monologue as well.
Do you think though, because I'm really glad you brought that in, do you think though that social media has a massive impact on this though? Because as a parent, we have exposure professionally, we all have exposure via social media, and that self-doubt and self-judging, because actually Lee's driving a great big Bentley and he's got this fantastic massive pool in his house, and we're all going, oh Lee, you live this luxury lifestyle.
Have you got a swimming pool?
2.
2?
I haven't got Bentley either.
No, but
I'm rubbish with cars though, so I've got no idea if that's a Bentley or not.
Peugeot.
Okay.
A little bit different. A little bit different.
go on, just get out. I mean, but I
I
think
mean, I do need a wig.
I just think, I mean, my point is,
I know what you're saying though, because as a parent, especially a first-time parent, no one trains you to do that.
No.
And they say it's maternal instincts or whatever,
but
blah
it's
blah
really
blah.
not.
But with social media, you're constantly comparing and judging as well. So you do again feel.
Sorry, it makes some noise for everyone to be hot.
Well,
by.
she didn't ask for one, did she? She didn't ask.
Don't ask.
But yeah, it is true. You social media. I did my head in about all sorts. You know,
It's only everyone's A
co-sleeping.
game.
Especially
The trouble is,
holidays.
everyone puts their A game on there, so it's the best stuff, isn't it? And the ones that don't put their A game on, everyone judges. So, oh, you're always down in the dumps, you're always miserable, I don't want to follow you because you bore me. You know, it's just constant stuff.
It's the ones that go pumpkin picking at Halloween and the ones that go to all the grottos at Christmas and they're all living their best life. And
I always go to grottos.
Your grotto.
I love a grotto. Right, you should see your airbrush, love.
I
I need to actually just show you this.
Sorry, Lee.
Sorry.
We'll let you talk in a minute, mate.
I am not grotty. That is got a bit.
Classy.
That is my hairbrush.
Yeah, it's definitely not mine. I'm a hairdresser, and that is not my hairbrush.
But I think social
See my
media,
car.
social media is proof that everything was perfect, even if it was just for 1 second, and that's what people do.
Oh,
we,
I like that.
we don't put on. I'm not finished yet.
Oh, carry on.
I'm just going to spit fire.
Go. Right. Shh, shh, shh.
So yeah, social media, it's proof that even if it just as for a second everything was perfect, no one puts the when they get out of bed at like 3 o'clock in the morning and they look awful, or when they've had a really stressful day, or if things are going down the toilet, no one puts that on. But when you go out for a nice meal with friends or with your partner, that goes on there. When you're maybe going to a conference and you've got your nicest suit on, or when you're on a holiday and you've like got a nice bikini on and you're all like this. That's not me.
How you say that now?
I could pull it off. It's all right. But I just want to kind of like circle back to another phrase that I always like, which is comparison is the thief of joy. Because we're letting social media, we're letting how we look at other people's lives and go, I want that shit. We're letting that take away from what we've actually got. So instead of like looking around to see the friends, the family, the stuff that you've got, we've got a roof over our head, we've got probably method of transportation, we've got our
That was
health.
very well said. With a method of transportation.
Your Bentley.
with my skateboard.
Yeah. So yeah, we
Pogo
just need
stick.
to. I think we just need to give ourselves a bit more credit.
I think you're absolutely right, and I think
Normally am.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, going back to your superhero status, I think.
I got superhero syndrome.
Yeah, I think you just need to realise that is people's A games, and like, I mean, I liked what you said then about just for a moment everything was perfect, but is it? So how many times have we stood there feeling pretty miserable, or you put that face, or you take a lovely photograph, and then you put your phone away and go, fucking.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need to remember, isn't it? You know, lots of people's lives aren't the A game. They show you that, and you shouldn't compare, especially mums, young mums, who are online looking at these celebrities.
Who've got the most beautiful body still, and
Beautiful body, beautiful house, the perfect model husband, everyone's helping. But behind the
they
scenes...
probably haven't got love in the house. So they've got a nanny
Is that
looking
like-
after
that's
the
about
children.
Our old home, rubbish houses and no husbands.
Just go over.
Even my 6-year-old the other day, he's 6 years old, he watches a bit of YouTube, and he, you know, they flick past all these different, and he watches these videos where these, you know, sort of teenage guys are in a house and they fill it with balls or whatever and trampolines. And he said, Mummy, we need to be rich. You know, when are we going to get rich? I said, well, we already are. And he was like, no. I said, no, we're not, Mummy. I said, we are. We're healthy and we've got each other. We've got a roof over our heads. We've got a car. You know, we've got a lovely family. We love each other. That's rich. And if you have everything in the world, like these celebrities or whatever, what more do you dream for?
And you are
What more do you
scatty.
want?
So everyone's
She's
listening.
got chickens in her lounge.
Yeah. So I phoned you the other day. You were too rude to answer, so you just cut me off because you're hanging. I phoned you and I had a chat. So I then phoned you.
Why am I scatty when I answered the bloody phone?
We had a lovely conversation, but this is how it went. All right, John, yeah. And suddenly, she's walking around the house like this, with a chicken in her hand. All I could see was her and this chicken's head going up and down, and I couldn't work out if it was going forward, backwards, or sideways, or what the hell she was talking about.
Honestly, my mother came to live with us over Christmas because she wasn't very well, and she said, "This is like a bloody madhouse." And every time a seagulls come in the garden, I'm opening the window, going, "Ah!" and just scare it off.
You want to see
No,
the
I'm
neighbours
like
who
that
are
on
rocking
the
like
phone.
this?
Yeah.
I could be talking to a customer on the phone or a client, and I'm literally like, "Chickens, get out!"
There is chickens.
Constant.
They're
Like a
chicken. I mean,
cat.
but I think that's. I mean, I like that. I really enjoyed the phone call. It was funny, but I did walk away going, "Wow."
She's scatty, yeah.
But in a
Thanks.
nice
I
way.
hope that wasn't a nice way.
It
John,
was in a
otherwise I'm not
nice
coming
way.
back here
Otherwise,
again.
yeah.
So just before we kind of wrap up, because John's getting a little bit touchy and he probably needs to go for a nap now.
He does need that.
So we're just going to wrap up.
I'm going to go slap him on the head in a minute.
How can we rewrite our internal narratives when the evidence alone doesn't help? So any coping mechanisms for stuff like this?
I just think, don't be afraid to try it. I mean, don't let it stop you. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Give her a smash.
Just go up there and go, do you know what? Even if you fail, you've tried. It's better to fail than not trying.
I think it's surround yourself with positive people, with that people that big you up, your cheerleaders. We've got those people in our lives that we might take the piss out of each other mercilessly, but actually 1,000,000% got each other's back and would sing each other's praises all day long and fully encourage each other and actually
be happy for
be happy
that
for
person.
that,
Yeah.
genuinely
Yeah.
happy. Yes. So surround yourself with those types of people because there's radiators and drains, isn't there? And I think we
Oh,
all,
I like that.
yeah, we all know drains.
We're great at little phrases, aren't we?
Oh, radiators and drains. But do you know what I mean? Though, like the people in this room here, I think you're all bloody idiots. But actually, I know ultimately,
You're draining me.
yeah. But it's
Yeah, I know what
getting
you
yourself in the right mindset by surrounding yourself with the right people. And I think Jen, you said the other day, the more you kind of put out, the more you get back in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it is because I'm surrounded by good people as well at the minute. I've got a really good little community of friends and family.
People that love you and want to big you up and encourage
genuinely
you.
want
and
for me.
See the good in you and what you're doing and what you're achieving and encourage that. Yeah. Rather than negative people that just suck the flipping life out of you and
call you scatty and
tell you you've got a chicken in your house.
Yeah. Just because I had a chicken under my arm, I don't see what the problem is.
It wasn't about chicken under your arm. It's the fact that because you're walking around, all I could see was the chicken's head doing this. And I was like, I'm getting dizzy.
At least she wasn't walking around with like a male chicken.
Well, I sort of said that. I actually said, I never thought I'd see you walking around with a cock in your hands.
No.
And it wasn't, it was a chicken.
You actually did say something about cocks, didn't you?
But anyway. I think for me, I like to do journaling. So when my mind is getting busy and the imposter syndrome's winning, put everything down on paper. It literally, when you look at it on paper...
I can't read my handwriting.
Doesn't matter though. I've got
It's 25.
Do a voice note.
I've done that at 3 o'clock in the
My
morning.
quill.
I've got up and had a cup of tea at 3 o'clock in the morning when I can't sleep.
Yeah, it's...
Did you say quill?
Yes.
Just
Is that to go with the Bentley?
Well, I thought she was showing in some of those quim over sort of Ujmiflit words.
Oh, don't start that again.
Do wacky.
Do wacky.
No, my flabber is gasted.
My socks are well and truly popped.
Right, anyway, thank you for listening to...
If Jenna's putting us back in.
I think this one's the most weirdest so far. We're all being really weird today.
About to wrap up, so...
Bye everyone, we're sorry.
We're all on a Imposter Syndrome, we should be here.
We're sorry everyone.
So, for structured help, try Mind's workplace wellbeing resources, mind.org.uk/work. That's mind.org.uk/work. Also, the Imposter Syndrome Institute offers free tools. And Anxiety UK's is on 03 444 775 774. And CBT courses can really help reframe thoughts. Remember, feeling fake doesn't mean you are.
So I mean, I don't know what CBT courses are. I mean, obviously, we're not giving advice. We're giving, we steer people in the right direction. So, I mean, why is that? I don't know what that is.
I've had it, and it's just retraining your brain, really. I used to get I was telling you last time. I used to get. I'm still trying. But yeah, no, it does help. It does help, and that's who I had it with TalkWorks as well.
Really?
So, yeah.
I've never heard of it. But that's really good advice, isn't it? To just go and check these things out and just see if it works for you.
Just retraining the way you think and how to deal with it and things and grounding yourself.
Yeah. But until next time, look after yourself, look after each other's, and stay safe.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. Yes, I remember that.